What's poppin', everybody? It's a Sabro54. Despite all the raging that I did on my latest rant on Stage 2 Pokemon and Rulebox Pokemon, I tried using Tyranitar again. I made a lot of tweaks on the deck, tested this, tested that, and I have a build that it's sort of okay. This deck is still not going to be top tier. It's still not great. Stage 2 Pokemon are still not amazing. But for the people that really want to use a Stage 2 Pokemon like this Tyranitar, this is one of the better versions, at least in my eyes. So we're going to start things off with the Pokemon here. This Tyranitar, Stage 2 from Paldea Evolved, regular Pokemon. Seems great on paper, but it does have its shortcomings. 180 HP seems high, but it really isn't. It's going to be dying in one shot to a lot of popular attacks, a lot of standard attacks. But I mean, besides the HP, the attacks it has itself are sort of okay. Route does 30 damage plus 30 more for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So if they have 4 to 5 bench Pokemon, you're hitting between 150 to 180 damage for 1 energy, which is respectable. It's enough to put some pressure. And then if they want to play around this attack and not play a lot of Pokemon down, you got Dread Mountain, 230 for 2. Once again, very high damage for 2 energy. The drawback of discarding 4 cards from the top of your deck is really bad, but we gotta live with it. And this is basically Tyranitar. Weakness to grass, big retreat, standard stuff. It's a solid Stage 2 though, compared to all of the other Stage 2s around at least. We got a few other ones that are also kind of okay, but this is one of the better ones, comparatively. I got one Pupitar, gotta have the Stage 1 over here too, and this one from Pokemon Go is the best one, I'd say. Both of the ones available have 90 HP. This one has a better first attack. Crash and Bullet, it's going to do 20 and do 20 to all of your opponent's Pokemon. It's going to hit your guys too, but because our guys die in one shot anyway, like even if I would soften up the Tyranitar from 180 to 160, like if I have them on the bench or other Pokemon, it doesn't really make a difference. So if you do have to attack with this, you know, softening up your opponent's Pokemon could be good. I mean, at the end of the day, you probably don't want to attack. You just want to use this to evolve into Tyranitar without having to use a rare candy. Gotta have some Stage 1s around too. Okay, and then the basic Justice Larvitar. In the end, I did have to craft 2 of these. Just so you guys know, I'm not that crazy. But I did craft, test it with the deck, and I was really pissed when I wasn't doing well. But I've made some changes, and now it has sort of worked. But you gotta have the 4 Larvitars. It's this, and then we got another one from Pokemon Go, I think, too. And I only have this one, 70 HP. I don't know if the other one is that much better, but we don't really want to attack with it anyway. So a 4-4-1 line, standard for how I run Stage 2s usually. You want 4, you don't want 3 to this guy. You always want to have him around as your only attacker. Okay. Next up, we got all of the support Pokemon, and our Radiant Pokemon for this deck is going to be this Radiant Jirachi. Now, in this deck, in my head, it made sense to use Radiant Greninja, discard energies, draw cards, and the darkness energies that you discard, you can get back with Dark Patch. The problem is, that sort of way to build the deck, it was very, very inconsistent. I had to run more darkness energies for Greninja, I had to run a lot of Dark Patches. Dark Patch is a dead card early and even to mid-game as you're trying to set up the Tyranitars. It only works on a bench Pokemon, it has to be dark. You can't use them to put energies on Larvitar or Pupitar. You gotta evolve into Tyranitar. And a lot of the times that extra energy acceleration doesn't even matter. I mean, you probably don't want to use the second attack of Tyranitar all the time anyway. You want to do Route. If your opponent is playing around it, I guess then things change. But we don't really need that much energy acceleration. I had to cut down on the Dark Patches, had to cut down on the darkness energies, put more supporter cards in, make the deck more consistent. The Greninja consistency doesn't work that well in this deck, at least from my experience. So we're going for Radiant Jirachi instead. If I open with this guy and we get that lucky kill, you grab 3 cards from your deck, it's pretty good. I got a bunch of Manavis here, so they're not really going to be able to play around it unless they want to do boss's orders. So, Jirachi, that's the way to go. Then we got the Mew, another good support Pokemon. If you open with this, you can try and grab item cards, get those rare candies to evolve in the Tyranitar, get your ball cards, get Pokemon. It's good. I mean, we don't have anything else. Only other similar Pokemon is Comfey right now, I think. The other ones, like the other Jirachi and I think it was Celebi, Manaphy. There's a few other cards, but most of them rotated. I know the Jirachi from Vivid Voltage is rotated, obviously. So we got to use them new. I only got one, so we're using one. And I got a few other support Pokemon, I guess, just to make sure we have at least 10 basics. I got the double Manaphy. So you do run into some snipers. Greninja is a popular one, especially in water decks, Chien Pao. You want to stop that if you can. And a lot of the times people don't see the second one coming, so just having two, it pretty much ensures that snipers like that are useless. And a lot of times you can sort of trick them. They'll boss's orders, grab the Manaphy, kill that, and then you play another one down, and they're like, fuck. So that sort of thing. If you want to drop the Manaphy's or just do one, you can do like the Klefki. There's the Klefki that is gonna slow the game down. Basic Pokemon won't have abilities. It'll sort of affect this too, though, especially if you run that and then you want to run Greninja. So I don't do that. I got the Mimikyu, which is another sort of wall Pokemon. It's going to be immune to EXs and V, so we can use this to stall. If they don't have a regular attacker as a Pokemon, then they're going to have to rely on boss's orders. You can maybe leave this on its own and then you win. It's usually not going to be happening, but if you can stall for one turn at least as they try to get around this, then it's good as you're building up the Tyranitars. And then the last Pokemon is this Cyclizar. I like having a free retreater, just promote this. Maybe we are going to use a Dark Patch. I do have two in the deck. We'll get to those later. And if you open with this and you really don't have anything else, this can be used as a support Pokemon too. You attach an energy, you do Tauren, you draw 2 cards. I wish it was at least 3, because we had other cards that gave you more draw, but maybe I'm mistaken. I think Tapu Koko gave you 2 as well, so draw 2, but it's okay. It's a little bit of support, a little bit of consistency, and I mean, once again, Tyranitar doesn't need a lot of energy investment to make his attacks. For the most part, you want to rely on route, and most of the time your opponent, even if they know you're using this Tyranitar, they don't have much of a choice. They gotta play a lot of Pokemon down to get their setup. So you get the big damage. That's why this card is sort of good with the route attack. But anyway, these are all the Pokemon. I want to have at least 10 basics in my deck, and this is 10, I'm quite sure. Yeah, it's 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. I usually want to have 11, but 10 is the minimum that I'll go most of the time. So these are the Pokemon. Once again, Greninja didn't work out for me. Having it like this, you know, with Jirachi, more supporter cards, it worked out better. But I mean, you can do your testing, I guess. If you want to do like Barrel, if you want to do these sorts of things, it's just difficult. Barrel doesn't give you that amazing ass draw, and especially when you got stuck cards in hand like Rare Candy and other cards you can't really use. Dark Patches in this case too. I mean, it doesn't really work. I mean, maybe if it drew until 6 cards, maybe it would have been better. We don't have a lot of great methods to search it to besides Ultra Ball. And then that other pouch thing that you have to flip a coin. In other decks I'd use with Barrel, but for these sorts of decks, I want to be more vanilla, rely on supporter cards instead. I mean, if Greninja was a little bit better in this deck, it would have worked out, but it did not. Now onto the trainers. We got some standard stuff. We're going to max out the Nest Ball, do triple Ultra Ball, and then where are the level balls? Do 3 level balls. Gotta get a lot of our basic Pokemon down. Gotta get those Larvitars to evolve. We gotta get our support Pokemon. Just gotta get a lot of cards. Get those Manaphy's just to be safe. And Ultra Ball, of course, is to search out the Tyranitar. The costs are big, but I can afford to discard a bunch of cards. Once we get set up, I mean, a lot of these extra Pokemon, if you don't open with them like Manaphy and Jirachi, they're sort of gonna be useless. So we don't mind discarding them. Even Cyclizar, maybe Mimikyu. So we do have a lot of cards we're not going to need. There's always the play you can make where you use an Ultra Ball to discard an Ultra Ball and another card and then grab something. As long as you can get that Tyranitar and keep attacking, using a supporter every turn to draw cards and then senior cards, thinning out the deck, just make sure you have the Tyranitar and you're attacking every turn, then should be good. 3 Ultra Balls should do the trick with 4 Tyranitar. Alright. Then I do triple Trekking Shoes, another card that I only had one copy and I had more of other cards, but we had to just increase the number of these cards. Once again, they just boost the consistency. Straight draw one, and if you reveal a card you don't want, you can discard it and keep drawing, thinning the deck. So you reveal a useless card maybe you don't need, dump it, draw. Deck thinning, you know, having your deck fast. These stage 2 Pokemon need all the speed they can get because they got all the drawbacks and don't really have any benefits. Like, the one benefit that I always say with regular Pokemon, I guess now they've got that energy too, like the scramble energy that's been renewed. It's Path to the Peak. They can utilize cards like these where you shut down all of the rule box Pokemon. So that's our stadium of choice, 2 of these. That's it. You can do other stadiums. You can do the one, like the Parthenon 1 to block special energies, maybe slow down Arceus. You can do that. I mean, there's a bunch of other ones you can do that I can't really think of. There's the stadium that lets you grab a basic Pokemon every turn like a nest ball. You can do that. The one that lets you flip a coin to grab an evolution Pokemon. You do have a lot of options, but I want the disruption. I want something that doesn't affect me at all besides the Jirachi. So that's the Path to the Peak. Gotta have the 4 candies as a stage 2 deck. Can't go without them. And then the double Dark Patch. So I want to touch on this card a little bit more because maybe some newer players would think, oh, Darkness deck, Dark Patch, gotta play in 4s, stable. It's not how it goes. This card is gonna be dead if you see it in the beginning when you're trying to set up and you see a bunch of these, and then you gotta use Iono and other shuffle draw supporter cards, and then you're shuffling these back into the deck. You don't draw that many cards. You know, it gets in your way. If this was like a Turbo Darkrai deck, it would have been a different story. But you don't necessarily need it. I had 4, I went to 3, and then I even went down to 2, and I think 2 is the correct number. It's just about enough that you have 2 of them, so if you maybe have to discard one, you still have another one to get that, you know, speedy acceleration and quickly you know, get the Dark Patch, get a manual attachment, and then Tyranitar can do the 2 energy attack if you have to use it. But yeah, 2 is just good enough, especially if you don't discard any mid to late game. When you use them, they're gonna work out fine. To be perfectly honest, this is a card that if you really want to, you can actually drop. You can even maybe drop it to 1 or even none. I mean, energy acceleration is great, and Tyranitar can make use of it when you want to use the 2 for energy attack. But as I've explained, I mean, we really want to rely on route, and we're not really pressed with energy so much, especially if you open up with a decoy Pokemon like Jirachi or Mew, and you're in the process of setting up. You get your manual attachment, the next turn you get another attachment, and you can build the energies that way. As long as you don't miss your manual attachments turn after turn, then it's fine. But I still decided to have the 2 Dark Patches. The deck has worked for me the way I have it right now. So 2 is the correct number, I suppose, for now. Alright, what else do we got? I got the one-off switch that I usually run, just in case you might need it. We don't really mind Tyranitar getting stuck with free retreat because you just attach an energy and attack, so that guy isn't really a problem. Everybody else has 1 retreat or just no retreat in the case of Cyclizar. So I'm kind of fine with retreating, get it stuck, but just having a switch is always kind of nice. If you want to drop it, you can, but I don't want to go completely without having a tech switching outlet. So this is in. And then the last item card is this Energy Search. This is something to just, once again, deck thinner card, searcher card, get an energy to the hand. And then it's something that if I don't have an energy and I don't have Energy Search and I got Irida, I can turn this into an energy too, because I can just grab the Energy Search. It's kind of lame, but if it's the only thing you really need and you don't have any energies, that's all you need, you can do that. So that's why I decided to keep it in. Want to take this out as well, it's up to you. But I mean, 1 is fine. I don't have that many energies. You don't need that many, but you do want to be able to see your energies for attachments. And I think that's about it. That's all the item cards. I don't think I missed anything. We don't have the luxury for tools or any other techs and stuff. I guess instead of Dark Patch, you could have done something like EXP Share, and that's something you can play down immediately. and it could work, to be honest. It's not too bad, but Dark Patch is Dark Patch. This is a darkness deck, so I decided to go this direction. Experience share is pretty strong though right now when there isn't a way to just get rid of tools. So if you want to go that direction, you can, but it's not something that I want to rely on. Even Dark Patch isn't something that I really want to rely on. Alright. Supporter cards is going to be standard stuff with a new face. I guess we'll talk about our first. The new face is this Grusha card. So when I reviewed this on Cerebi, I think there was a mistranslation or something. I don't remember, but maybe it was a different card. There was a supporter where you shuffle and draw 8 and then your turn ends. Maybe it was a different one. Maybe it's this chick. Who knows? But this new bitch, she can kind of be okay here, because if we don't have energies, you can shuffle and draw, or draw until you have 7 cards, which is kind of okay. It's still a worse Lily from before the rules changed. Lily was awesome when you can use her first, draw until you have 8. But it's kind of a close replacement, and if everything else fails, it's draw until you have 5, which it could be okay. It's like a Cynthia. You don't have to run her, but I decided to just test her out, and she can give you some solid draw. You can drop her for more copycats. You can drop her for Shauna. I actually had to drop Shauna for her. Shauna is going to be more consistent, but I decided to gamble a little bit with this card, because if you can draw until you have 7, you know, it is pretty good. You don't have any energies. We don't run a lot of energy, so maybe sometimes, you know, if you see this before you attach the energy, before you see an energy to attach, can be pretty good. Or when something died and once again, you're just trying to get energy, trying to get a Tyranitar. This could be pretty good help. I got the standard stuff, you know, double Professor Research. Don't want to over discard, but necessary heavy duty draw. Max out the Iono, she's pretty good. And the one Irida, Skyla. I got a few water Pokemon too. I mean, just the Manaphy's, no Greninja, but still fine. The one Cynthia's Ambition. You're going to be getting the plus most of the time, because Tyranitar is going to be dying, unfortunately. So you're going to be getting the plus, but we don't want to over-rely on her. And then anything else, the one Copycat, once again, good tech supporter to the decks that draw a lot of cards. Miriam, my recovery card here, and also a draw card, Pot of Avarice. It's amazing. Gotta have it. And then the boss's orders, use it at the right time, win the game. That's about it. And I think this is pretty much the deck. It's very simple, but I mean, you just gotta get the cards right. You gotta get the numbers right. You can't afford to have these decks being consistent. And even like this, there's always the chance you're gonna break. Last thing is the energies, just 10 darkness energies, no other tricks, no other nonsense. You could do like the scramble energy, like where is it? This one over here, the reversal energy. If you're getting your ass kicked, you can use this and it provides 3, but we're not really going to get the big bonus. Our attack, Tyranitar's biggest attack is only 2 energy. You don't really want to utilize it that much. I mean, if I'm going to use this, maybe I'll drop the dark patches completely. I mean, there's a bunch of options you can consider, but just all basic darkness energies, keeping it simple. I thought it was the best way to go about it. And this is the deck. Once again, don't get the idea this is some sort of tier 0 deck. It's just a regular stage 2 Pokemon deck. But if you want to use Tyranitar, this list that you see here has worked for me. I'm going to show you guys some matches. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a like. Share this video with your friends. And I'll see you guys next time. What a